In January 2026, my family became one of nearly 20,000 American households who did something our grandparents would have called unthinkable. We left the United States. Not for a vacation, not for a work stint, permanently. And we're far from alone. But here's what the headlines won't tell you about why Australia has suddenly become the escape hatch for American families, and why some of us are already questioning if we made the right call. Okay, before we dive in, I need to show you something. Because I know what you're thinking. This is just another clickbait video. So here's my proof this isn't fiction. Australian Permanent Residency Visa, approved March 2025. Our kids' enrollment confirmation at Brisbane Grammar School. Tuition receipt right here, 28,000 Australian dollars per year. That's about 18,500 US dollars. And this, my final US mortgage payment. $3,400 a month for a 3-bedroom house in San Diego. We sold that house. Closed escrow in December. We're all in on this decision. So when I tell you what I'm about to tell you, understand, I have real skin in this game. This isn't theory. This is my family's life. 2026 isn't just another year on the calendar. 3 major things converged that forced families like mine to make this impossible choice. Number 1, Australia just streamlined what they're calling priority skilled migration pathways, essentially fast-tracking visas for Americans, Canadians, and Brits working in technology, defense, and healthcare. They're not calling it a refugee program, but between the lines, they know what's happening. Western professionals are hedging their bets, and Australia wants the talent. Number 2, the United States and China are locked in what defense analysts are now calling a deterrent standoff over Taiwan. You probably saw the headlines about China's Justice Mission 2025 drills in December. 130 aircraft, warships, simulated blockades, live-fire exercises designed to practice sealing off Taiwan. The U.S. responded with $11 billion in arms sales and warnings about red lines. My brother's stationed at Guam Naval Base. That's only 1,800 miles from Taiwan. If something ignites, Guam is ground zero. Australia? We're over 4,000 miles away. That distance isn't just geography. It's peace of mind when you're trying to decide where to raise your kids. Number 3, the cost of living in America just broke the back of the middle class. But here's the twist. Australia's median wages are actually higher in key sectors, and their healthcare system, well, we'll get to that plot twist in a minute. Spoiler alert, it's not what you think. Here's the moment I knew we had to leave. It's November 20th, 2025. My 8-year-old daughter comes home from school, and she's in tears. Her best friend's dad, Marine Corps, deployed to the South China Sea as part of the deterrence buildup, just got pulled back on emergency leave because tensions were classified as elevated threat level. And my daughter looks up at me with these terrified eyes and asks, "Daddy, is it going to be a war? Are you going to have to go fight? I'm a software engineer. I'm a civilian. I'm not going anywhere." But in that moment, I realized something that shook me to my core. My kids are growing up with an anxiety that I never had to carry as a child. Duck and cover drills are back in California schools. Except this time, they're not for earthquakes. The principal sent an email that literally said they're preparing students for potential external security threats. Those were the exact words. External security threats. And I sat there that night after my daughter finally cried herself to sleep, and I thought, what if we don't have to live like this? What if there's a place where my kids can just be kids? Where the biggest worry is whether it's going to rain during soccer practice, not whether their dad's city is within range of a hypersonic missile. So I did something that probably sounds crazy. I made a spreadsheet. Yeah, a spreadsheet to decide if we should leave the country. This is the spreadsheet that changed everything. United States versus Australia, 2026 edition. And I'm going to walk you through this line by line because this is where the numbers get absolutely wild. Ready? Healthcare. United States. We were paying $1,800 per month for family health insurance through my employer-sponsor plan. Our annual deductible? $6,000. which means if anything serious happened, we're out nearly $28,000 before insurance even starts covering things meaningfully. My daughter has asthma. Her prescription inhaler cost us $340 every 3 months. Australia, because we have permanent residency status, we're covered under Medicare. Monthly premium? 0. Nothing. My daughter's asthma inhaler here? 9 Australian dollars. That's about $6 US. I literally have both pharmacy receipts saved on my phone because I still can't believe it's real. Housing. San Diego rent for a 3-bedroom house in a decent school district, $3,400 per month. We looked at buying. Median home price was pushing $1.2 million. Our mortgage payment would have been close to $5,000 a month with current interest rates. Brisbane, we bought a 4-bedroom house with a pool in a suburb called Carindale. Good schools, 30-minute drive to the city. Our monthly mortgage payment? 3,500 Australian dollars. That's about 2,300 US. Yes, Sydney and Melbourne are more expensive. But we didn't move to Sydney. Pro tip. And before you say, well, Brisbane's boring, my kids have a pool. We have a backyard. I'll take wages and take home. This is where it gets interesting. I'm a senior software engineer. My San Diego salary, $140,000 US per year. My Brisbane offer, 140,000 Australian dollars per year. With the exchange rate, that's about 92,000 US. On paper, that looks like a massive pay cut, right? Wrong. Here's what I didn't account for. In Australia, employers are required by law to contribute an additional 12% of your salary into your retirement fund. It's called superannuation. That's an extra 16,800 Australian dollars per year that I never see, but is building my retirement. In the US, I was getting a 4% employer match if I contributed 6%, maybe $5,000 a year. Then factor in healthcare costs, $1,800 a month in the US. That's $21,600 a year. In Australia, 0 in premiums. Childcare costs dropped by 40%. And income taxes? Surprisingly similar once you account for state taxes in California. Bottom line, our actual take-home, money we can spend or save after all mandatory costs, is $18,000 higher per year in Australia. I'll drop the full breakdown spreadsheet in the comments if you want to run your own numbers. Safety. This one's not political. It's just data. School shootings in the United States in 2025. 83 incidents resulting in injuries or deaths on K-12 campuses. That's according to multiple tracking organizations. My kids did active shooter drills twice a semester. They knew the protocol: run, hide, fight. My son was 6 years old when he learned what lockdown meant. Australia, 0 school shootings in 2025, 0 in 2024. The last major incident was in 1996, and they overhauled their gun laws immediately after. My kids do fire drills here. That's it. They practice how to evacuate if there's a fire, not how to hide from someone with an AR-15. I'm not making a Second Amendment argument. I'm just telling you what my kids' daily reality looks like now. Animate 5th row. Geopolitical distance. Here's the kicker. The thing that actually tipped the scales for us. And this is the big if that keeps me up at night. If something happens in the Taiwan Strait, if those deterrence drills turn into something real, the U.S. West Coast is going to feel it. Economically, militarily, emotionally. Australia is a treaty ally. They'll support the U.S. through AUKUS and other agreements, but geographically, we're insulated. Our kids won't be growing up under threat alerts. They won't be hearing sonic booms from fighter jets scrambling at 3 a.m. I'm not saying war is imminent. I'm not a doomer, but I'm saying this. I'm hedging my family's future. And 2026 is the year that hedging stopped feeling paranoid and started feeling prudent. Now, before you open a new browser tab to search for Australian visa requirements, let me hit you with a reality check. Because I promise you the real story, not the highlight reel that expat bloggers sell you. Here are the regrets, the trade-offs, The things that keep me awake some nights wondering if we made the right call. Regret number 1. We're 7,000 miles away from aging parents. My mom is 68 years old. My wife's dad just turned 72. If something happens, a medical emergency, a fall, anything, I'm a 14-hour flight away. Plus time zones. Plus the fact that last-minute flights from Brisbane to Los Angeles cost $3,000 round trip. We FaceTime every Sunday, but it's not the same. My mom cried for an hour when we told her we were leaving. That weight, I carry it every single day. Regret number 2. The job market is smaller. In San Diego, if I got laid off, I could apply to 500 companies within a 50-mile radius. Tech hubs everywhere. Here in Brisbane, maybe 50 companies hiring at my level. Maybe. The tech scene is growing, but it's not Silicon Valley. If I lose this job, my options are limited. That's a real vulnerability. Regret number 3. Australians are friendly. Like, genuinely warm people. But they're slow to let you into their inner circle. We've been here 8 months. We have acquaintances. We get invited to the occasional barbecue. But deep friendships? The kind where you call someone at 2 a.m. because you need help? We don't have that yet. It's lonely. My wife struggles with this more than I do. She had a tight group of friends back home. Here, she's starting from zero. Regret number 4. Everything costs more. A bag of Doritos at the grocery store? $6 Australian dollars. A basic haircut? $40. Going out to dinner for a family of 4? Easily $120. Yes, wages are higher, but lifestyle inflation is real. We're not living large. We're living carefully. So no, Australia is not a utopia. It's a trade-off. And anyone who tells you otherwise is either selling you something or hasn't been here long enough to know better. Here's why this isn't just my family's story. This is a signal, a canary in the coal mine for what's happening to the American middle class. In 2024, approximately 10,000 Americans moved to Australia. In 2025, migration agencies are reporting applications surged to over 20,000, more than double. And projections for 2026, based on the first 2 weeks of January alone, suggest we could hit 25 to 30,000 by year's end. That's not a trend. That's an exodus. Why? Because the American middle class is waking up to something uncomfortable. The American dream has competition now. And it's not coming from China or Russia. It's coming from our own allies. Australia, Canada, New Zealand. They're offering what the United States used to promise: safety, opportunity, a healthcare system that won't bankrupt you if your kid breaks an arm, an education system that doesn't require active shooter drills. The United States is still the richest country on earth, still the most innovative, still the cultural hegemon. But for families, for parents trying to give their kids a stable childhood, the math is starting to break. And when the math breaks, people move. The real question isn't why are Americans leaving? The question is, what would it take for them to stay? And I don't think anyone in Washington is asking that question honestly. So here's the moment of truth. 8 months into this experiment. 8 months in Australia. Was it worth it? My daughter hasn't cried about war since we moved. Not once. My son's school has a beach day once a month where the whole class goes to the coast for environmental science lessons. Try doing that in Nebraska, or Ohio, or anywhere that's not on a coastline with safe, clean beaches. My wife got a job offer within 3 weeks of landing here. Marketing director role that pays more than her position in San Diego. And me? I sleep better. I don't wake up at 3 a.m. checking news alerts about carrier strike groups or missile tests. I check the weather. I check if I need to move the car for street cleaning. Normal stuff. But I also miss my mom. I miss sitting on her porch drinking coffee on Sunday mornings. I miss In-N-Out Burger. Laugh if you want, but you don't know what you've got till it's gone. And I miss the energy of America. The optimism. The chaos. The sense that anything's possible if you just work hard enough. Australia is chill, maybe too chill. Sometimes I crave that American intensity, that fire. Would I move back? Not right now. Ask me again in 2028. when my daughter's 10 and my son's 7. Ask me when we see how the Pacific situation plays out. Ask me after the 2028 U.S. election, depending on who's steering the ship. But here's what I know for certain. Having options is the ultimate privilege. And in 2026, more American families are realizing they have options. Whether you use those options, whether you stay and fight for the America you believe in, or whether you hedge and move somewhere else, that's a choice only you can make. There's no right answer. There's just the answer that lets you sleep at night. All right, your turn. I want to hear from you. No judgment, no political tribalism, just honesty. If you were in my shoes, middle-class family, 2 kids, aging parents, uncertain geopolitical future, would you leave the United States for a country that offers better healthcare and safety, even if it meant being 7,000 miles from everyone you know? Or do you believe America is still worth fighting for from the inside? But the answer isn't to leave, but to stay and make it better? Drop your honest take in the comments. I read every single one, and I'm genuinely curious where you stand on this, because I think this is the defining question for American families in 2026. And if you found this valuable, if the spreadsheet, the receipts, or just the raw honesty help you think through something you've been wrestling with, do me a favor. Hit that like button. It tells YouTube's algorithm to show this video to more families who might need to hear it. Subscribe if you want the 6-month update. I'll cover the stuff I got completely wrong about Australia, including the spiders. Oh my God, the spiders. Nobody warned me about the spiders. Oh, and one more thing. Next video, I'm doing something I haven't seen anyone else do. I'm breaking down the exact visa process we use to get approved for permanent residency in Australia, step by step, including the one strategy that got us approved in 90 days instead of 12 months. I'm talking about the documents, the costs, the timeline, the mistakes we almost made that would have tanked our application. If you're even 1% serious about exploring this option, not just for Australia, but for understanding how skilled migration works in general, you're going to want to see this. I'll drop that video next week. This is the Pacific Balance. Thanks for watching. And whether you stay or whether you go, make the choice that lets you and your family sleep at night. That's all that matters.